Welcome to Thornwillow's Centennial reading of Ulysses. We are celebrating James Joyce's literary masterpiece by presenting the entire novel through a tapestry of hundreds of clips that unite readers across the world. Many thanks to our readers for volunteering to participate in our Centennial celebration. Episode 11, Sirens, featuring Patrick Hastings from Baltimore, Maryland, Megan Barnard from Austin, Texas, Sarah MacDonnell from Provincetown, Massachusetts, Edward Conlon from New York, Adam Levin from Paris, France, Charles Frederick Secrease from Reading, Connecticut, Sammy Jay from London, Duane Buotte from Carmel, New York, Lochlann O'Mearáin from Westport, County Mayo, Ireland, Sage Mehta from New York, Micki Myers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Martin Cox from Brooklyn, David Hirschman from Providence, Rhode Island, Jacqueline Bucovy, Brooklyn, New York, Virginia Bartow from Brooklyn, Charles Tolkien-Gillett from New York, and Rick Gekoski from Salisbury, Wiltshire, UK.
Hello, my name is Patrick Hastings. I am the author of The Guide to James Joyce's Ulysses, and I am doing this reading from my office in between teaching my English classes here at Gilman School in Baltimore, Maryland, and coaching a soccer game this afternoon. I get to open the Sirens episode. I'm reading from my Gobbler edition that I got from Shakespeare and Company bookstore in the summer of 2011. All right, Sirens, here we go. Bronze by gold heard the hoof irons steely ringing. Ampherthum, thuthathum. Chips, picking chips off rocky thumbnail, chips. Horrid, and gold flushed more. A husky fife note blew. Blue, blue bloom is on the gold pinnacled hair. A jumping rose on satiny breast of satin, rose of Castile. Trilling, trilling, idolores. Peep, who's in the peep of gold? Tink cried to bronze in pity, and a call, pure, long and throbbing, long and dying call. Decoy, soft word. But look, the bright stars fade, notes chirruping answer. Oh, Rose, Castile, the morn is breaking. Jingle, jingle, jaunted jingling. Coin rang, clock clacked. Avowal, sonnet. I could, rebound of garter, not leave thee. Smack, la cloche. Thigh smack, avowal, warm, sweetheart, goodbye, jingle, blue. Boomed crashing chords, when love absorbs, war, war, the tympanum, a sail, a veil, a wave upon the waves, lost, throstle fluted, all is lost now. Horn, haw horn. When first he saw, alas, full tup, full throp, warbling, lure, alluring. Martha, come. Clap, clap, clip, clap, clappy, clap. Good God, he never heard in all. Deaf, bald Pat. Brought pad knife took up. A moonlit night call. Far, far. I feel so sad. P.S. So lonely blooming. Listen. The spiked and winding cold sea horn. Have you the each and for other plash and silent roar? Pearls. When she Litz's rhapsodies, hiss, you don't? Did not. No, no. Lid lied, with a cuck and a cara. Black, deep sounding. Do, Ben, do. Wait while you wait. Hee hee. Wait while you hee. But wait. Low, in dark middle earth, embedded ore. Nomine Domine. Preacher he is. All gone, all fallen. Tiny, her tremulous fern foils of maidenhair. Amen, he gnashed in fury. Fro, to, fro, a baton cool protruding. Bronze Lydia by Mina Gold, by bronze, by gold, in ocean green of shadow, bloom, old bloom. One wrapped, one tapped, with a cara, with a cock. Pray for him, pray, good people. His gouty fingers knackering. Big Benaben, Big Ben. Last rose, Castile of summer left bloom, I feel so sad alone. Whee! Little wind piped. Whee! True men, lid, cur, cow, dee, and doll. Aye, like you men. We'll lift your chink with a chunk. Ooh. Wear bronze from an ear, wear gold from afar. Wear hoofs. Cra, grondel. Then not till then. My FFF be done. Begin.
Hi, I'm Megan Barnard, the Associate Director for Administration and Curatorial Affairs at the Harry Ransom Center here at the University of Texas at Austin. The Ransom Center has been celebrating the 100th anniversary of the publication of Ulysses with an exhibition called Women in the Making of Joyce's Ulysses, which was curated by Dr. Claire Hutton of Loughborough University. The exhibition draws attention to the significant and largely under-acknowledged role many women played in the realization of this literary landmark. I'm reading today from our exhibition gallery, which is filled with manuscripts, photographs, letters, and other items from the Ransom Center's extensive holdings relating to James Joyce. Next to me is copy number 17 of the first edition of Ulysses. This beautiful copy is from the Ransom Center's Carlton Lake collection and was given by Sylvia Beach to Maurice Salé. The Ransom Center holds 34 copies of the first edition of Ulysses. You can learn more about the Center's collections, including materials relating to James Joyce, on our website. And now, on with the reading. Bronze by gold, Miss Douce's head by Miss Kennedy's head, over the cross blind of the Ormond bar, heard the vice-regal hoofs go by, ringing steel. Is that her? Asked Miss Kennedy. Miss Douce said yes, sitting with his ex, Pearl Grey and Eau de Nil. Exquisite contrast, Miss Kennedy said. When all agog, Miss Douce said eagerly, look at the fellow in the tall silk. Who? Where? Gold asked more eagerly. In the second carriage, Miss Douce's wet lips said, laughing in the sun. He's looking, bind till I see. She darted, bronze, to the backmost corner, flattening her face against the pane in a halo of hurried breath. Her wet lips tittered. He's killed looking back. She laughed. Oh, wet, aren't men frightful idiots? With sadness. Miss Kennedy sauntered sadly from bright light, twining a loose hair behind an ear. Sauntering sadly, gold no more, she twisted, twined a hair. Sadly she twined, in sauntering gold, hair behind a curving ear. It's then has the fine times, sadly then she said. A man. Blue went by Moyne's pipes, bearing in his breast the sweets of sin, by wine's antiques, in memory, bearing sweet, sinful words, by Carol's dusky, battered plate, for Raoul. The boots to them in the bar, then barmaids came. For them, unheeding him, he banged on the counter his tray of chattering china, and there's your teas, he said. Miss Kennedy, with manners, transposed the tea tray down to an upturned lithia crate, safe from eyes, low. "What is it?" Loud Boots unmannerly asked. "Find out," Miss Douce retorted, leaving her spying point. "Your beau, is it?" A haughty bronze replied. "I'll complain to Mrs. Demassy on you if I hear any more of your impertinent insolence." "Impertinent diffidence," Boots now sniffed rudely as he retreated, as she threatened, as he had come.
Hi, I'm Sarah MacDonnell, an actress in New York, but right now in Provincetown, a place I think Joyce would have loved. I'm honored to be asked to read Irish on Three Sides, MacDonnell, Sullivan, and Broderick. Let's proceed. On her flower, frowning, Miss Douce said, "Most aggravating that young brat is. If he doesn't conduct himself, I'll wring his ear for him a yard long." Ladylike, in exquisite contrast. "Take no notice," Miss Kennedy rejoined. She poured in a teacup tea, then back in the teapot tea. They cowered under the reef of the counter, waiting on footstools, crates upturned, waiting for their teas to draw. They pawed their blouses, both of them black satin, 2 and 9 a yard, waiting for their teas to draw, and 2 and 7. Yes, bronze from anear, but gold from afar. Heard steel from anear, hoofs ring from afar, and heard steel roofs, ring hoof, ring steel. "Am I awfully sunburnt?" Miss Bronze unbloused her neck. "No," said Miss Kennedy. "It gets brown after." "Did you try the borax with the cherry laurel water?" Miss Douce half stood to see her skin askance in the bar mirror, gilded lettered where hock and claret glasses shimmered, and in their midst a shell. "I leave it to my hands," she said. "Try it with the glycerin," Miss Kennedy advised, bidding her neck and hands adieu to Miss Douce. "Those things only bring out a rash," replied, receded. "I asked that old fogey in Boyd's for something for my skin." Miss Kennedy, pouring now full-drawn tea, grimaced and prayed, "Oh, don't remind me of him, for mercy's sake." "But wait till I tell you," Miss Douce entreated. Sweet tea, Miss Kennedy, having poured with milk, plugged both ears with little fingers. "No, don't," she cried. "I won't listen," she cried. "But Bloom." Miss Douce grunted in Snuffy Fogey's tone. "For your what?" says he. Miss Kennedy unplugged her ears to hear, to speak, but prayed again, "Don't let me think of him or I'll expire. The hideous old wretch, that night in the ancient concert rooms." She sipped distastefully her brew, hot tea, a sip, sipped sweet tea. "Here he was," Miss Douce said, cocking her bronze head 3/4, ruffling her nose wings. "Hoof-fa! Hoof-fa!" Shrill shriek of laughter sprang from Miss Kennedy's throat. Miss Douce huffed and snorted down her nostrils that quivered impertinent like a shout in quest. "Oh!" shrieking Miss Kennedy cried, "will you ever forget his goggle eye?" Miss Douce chimed in a deep bronze laughter, shouting, "And your other eye!" Blue Horse, whose dark eyes read Aaron Figanatter's name. Why do I always think Figather? Gathering figs, I think, and Prosper Laurie's Huguenot name. By Basie's blessed virgins, Bloom's dark eyes went by. Blue-robed, white under, come to me. God, they believe she is, or goddess. Those today I could not see. That fellow spoke, a student, after with Daedalus's son. He might be Mulligan. All comely virgins, that brings those rakes of fellows in, her white. By went his eyes. The sweets of sin. Sweets are the sweets of sin. In a giggling peal, young gold bronze voices blended. Douce with Kennedy. Your other eye. They threw back young heads, bronze giggled gold, to let free fly their laughter, screaming, your other, signals to each other, high, piercing notes. Panting, sighing, for Doan, their mirth died down. Miss Kennedy lipped her cup again, raised, drank a sip, and giggled. Miss Douce, bending over the tea tray, ruffled again her nose and rolled droll, fattened eyes. Again, Kenny giggles, stooping her fair pinnacles of hair, stooping her turquoise nape comb showing, sputtering out of her mouth her tea, choking in tea and laughter, coughing with choking, crying, "Oh, greasy beards! Imagine being married to a man like that," she cried, "with his bit of beard." Douce gave vent to a splendid yell, a full woman, delight, joy, indignation. "Married to the greasy nose," she yelled. Shrill with deep laughter after bronze and gold, they urged each to peal after peal, ringing in changes, bronze gold, gold bronze, shrill deep, to laughter after laughter, and then laughed more. Greasy eye nose. Exhausted, breathless, their shaken heads they laid, braided and pinnacled by glossy combed against the counter ledge, all flushed, oh, panting, sweating, oh, all breathless. Married to Bloom, to greasy Bloom. "Oh, saints above," Miss Douce said, sighed above her jumping rose. "I wish I hadn't laughed so much. I feel all wet." "Oh, Miss Douce," Miss Kennedy protested, "you horrid thing," and flushed yet more. "You horrid," more goldenly.
By Cantwell's offices roved Griesebloom, by Cheppy's virgins, bright of their oils. Nanetti's father hawked those things about, wheedling at doors as I. Religion pays. Must see him about Keyes's par. Eat first. I want. Not yet. At 4, she said, time ever passing, clock hands turning. On. Where eat? The Clarence, Dolphin. On. For Raoul. Eat. If I net 5 guineas with those ads. The violent silk petticoats. Not yet. The sweets of sin. Flushed less, still less, goldenly paled. Into their bar strolled Mr. Daedalus, picking chips off one of his rocky thumbnails. Chips, he strolled. "Oh, welcome back, Miss Douce." He held her hand. "Enjoyed her holidays?" "Tip-top." He hoped she had nice weather in Rostrevor. "Gorgeous," she said. "Look at the holy show I am, lying out in the Strand all day." Bronze whiteness. "That was exceedingly naughty of you," Mr. Daedalus told her, and pressed her hand indulgently. "Tempting poor, simple males." Miss Douce of satin deuced her arm away. "Oh, go away," she said. "You're very simple, I don't think." He was. "Well, now I am," he mused. "I looked so simple in the cradle, they christened me Simple Simon." "You must have been a doty," Miss Douce made answer. "And what did the doctor order today?" "Well, now," he mused, "whatever you say yourself. I think I'll trouble you for some fresh water and a half-glass of whiskey." Jingle. "With the greatest alacrity," Miss Douce agreed. With grace of alacrity towards the mirror-gilt Cantrell and Cochrane she turned herself. With grace she tapped a measure of gold whiskey from her crystal keg. Forth from the skirt of his coat, Mr. Daedalus brought pouch and pipe. Alacrity she served. He blew through the flue 2 husky fife notes. "By Jove," he mused, "I often wanted to see the Mourne Mountains. Must be a great tonic in the air down there. But a long threatening comes at last, they say. Yes, yes, yes." He fingered shreds of hair, her maiden hair, her mermaids, into the bowl. Chips, shreds, musing, mute. None not said nothing. Yes. Gaily Miss Douce polished a tumbler, trilling, "Oh, Edalores, queen of the eastern seas." Was Mr. Lidwell in today? In came Lenehan. Round him peered Lenehan. Mr. Bloom reached Essex Bridge. Yes, Mr. Bloom crossed bridge of Essex. To Martha I must write, by paper, dailies. Girl there, civil. Bloom, old Bloom. Blue Bloom is on the Rye. He was in at lunchtime, Miss Douce said. Lenehan came forward. Was Mr. Boylan looking for me? He asked. She answered. Miss Kennedy, was Mr. Boylan in while I was upstairs? She asked. Miss Voice of Kennedy answered, a second teacup poised, her gaze upon a page. No, he was not. Miss Gaze of Kennedy heard not seen read on. Lenehan round the sandwich bell, round his round body round. Peep, who's in the corner? No glance of Kennedy rewarding him, he yet made overtures. To mind her stops, to read only the black ones, round O and crooked S. Jingle, jaunty, jingle. Girl gold she read and did not glance, take no notice. She took no notice while he read by rote a sulphur fable for her, plappering flatly. A fox met a stork. Said the fox to the stork, will you put your bill down in my throat and pull up a bone? He droned in vain. Miss Douce turned to her tea aside. He sighed, aside. Ah me, oh my. He greeted Mr. Dedalus and got a nod. Greetings from the famous son of a famous father. Who might he be? Mr. Dedalus asked. Lenehan opened most genial arms. Who?
I'm Adam Levin. I'm the author of a few books, most recently the novel Mount Chicago. Who may he be, he asked. Can you ask? Stephen the youthful bard. Dry. Mr. Daedalus, famous father, laid by his dry-filled pipe. I see, he said. I didn't recognize him for the moment. I hear he is keeping very select company. Have you seen him lately? He had. I quaffed the nectar bowl with him this very day, said Lenehan. In Mooney's Envie, in Mooney's Sur-Mer. He'd received the rhino for the labor of his muse. He smiled at Bronze's tea-bathed lips, at listening lips and eyes. The elite of Erin hung upon his lips, the ponderous pundit, Hugh McHugh, Dublin's most brilliant scribe and editor, and that minstrel boy of the wild wet west, who is known by the euphonious appellation of the O'Madden Burke. After an interval, Mr. Daedalus raised his grog, and that must have been highly diverting, said he. I see. He drank, with faraway morning mountain eye, set down his glass. He looked toward the saloon door. I see you have moved the piano. The tuner was in today, Miss Douce replied, tuning it for the smoking concert, and I never heard such an exquisite player. Is that a fact? Didn't he, Miss Kennedy? The real classical, you know, and blind too, poor fellow. Not 20, I'm sure he was. Is that a fact, Mr. Daedalus said. He drank and strayed away. So sad to look at his face, Miss Douce condoled. God's curse on bitch's bastard. Tink to her pity, cried a dinner's bell. To the door of the dining room came bald Pat, came bothered Pat, came Pat, waiter of Ormond. Lager for dinner, lager without alacrity she served. With patience, Lenehan waited for Boylan with impatience, for Jingle Jaunty Blaze's boy. Upholding the lid, he, who, gazed in the coffin, at the oblique triple, piano wires. He pressed, the same who pressed indulgently her hand, soft pedaling a triple of keys to see the thicknesses of felt advancing, to hear the muffled hammer fall in action. 2 sheets, cream vellum paper, 1 reserve, 2 envelopes, when I was in Wisdom Healy's Wise Bloom and Daly's Henry Flower bought. Are you not happy in your home? Flower to console me in a pin cuts low. Means something, language of flow. Was it a daisy? Innocence, that is. Respectable girl meet after mass. Tanks awfully muchly. Wise bloom eyed on the door a poster. A swaying mermaid smoking mid nice waves. Smoke mermaids, coolest whiff of all. Hair streaming, lovelorn. For some man, for Raoul. He eyed and saw afar on Essex Bridge a gay hat riding on a jaunting car. It is, third time, coincidence. Jingling on supple rubbers, it jaunted from the bridge to Ormond Quay. Follow, risk it, go quick, at 4, near now, out. 2 pence, sir, the shop girl dared to say. Aha, I was forgetting, excuse, and 4. At 4 she, winsomely she on bloom him whom smiled. Blue smy ki go, ternoon. Think you're the only pebble on the beach? Does that to all, for men. In drowsy silence, gold bent on her page. From the saloon a call came, long and dying. That was a tuning fork the tuner had that he forgot that he now struck. A call again. That he now poised, that is now throbbed. You hear? It throbbed, pure, purer, softly and softlier, its buzzing prongs. Longer and dying call. Pat paid for diner's pop-corked bottle. An over-tumbler tray and pop-corked bottle. Ere he went, he whispered, bald and bothered with Miss Deuce. The bright stars fade, a voiceless song sang from within, singing, the morn is breaking. A duet and of bird notes chirruped bright treble answer under sensitive hands. Brightly the keys all twinkling, linked, all harpsichording, called to a voice to sing the strain of dewy morn, of youth, of love's leave-taking, life's, love's morn. The dewdrops purl. Lenehan's lips over the counter lisped a low whistle of decoy. But look this way, he said, Rose of Castile. Jingle jaunted by the curb and stopped. She rose and closed her reading, Rose of Castile. Fretted forlorn, dreamily rose. Did she fall, or was she pushed? He asked her. She answered, sliding. Ask no questions and you'll hear no lies. Like lady, ladylike.
Good day. My name is Charles Frederick Secrease, and I'm coming to you from my home here in the lovely Redding, Connecticut. And today I'll be reading a selection from chapter 11 of Ulysses by James Joyce. I hope you enjoy. Blazes Boyling's smart tan shoes creaked on the bar floor where he strode. Yes, gold from anear, but bronze from afar. Lenehan heard and knew and hailed him. See, the conquering hero comes! Between the car and window, warily walking, went Bloom, unconquered hero. See me he might. The seat he sat on warm, black, wary, he-cat walked towards Richie Golding's legal bag, lifted aloft, saluting, and I from thee. I heard you around, said Blazes Boyling. He touched to fair Miss Kennedy's a rim of his slanted straw. She smiled on him, but Sister Bronze outsmiled her, preening for him her richer hair, a bosom and a rose. Smart Boylan bespoke potions. What's your cry? Glass of bitter? Glass of bitter, please, and a slow gin for me. Wire in yet? Not yet. At 4, she. Who said 4? Callie's red lugs and bulging apple in the door of the sheriff's office. Avoid. Goulding a chance. What is he doing in the Ormond? Car waiting. Wait. Hello, we're off to. Something to eat? I too was just in here. What, Ormond? Best value in Dublin. Is that so? Dining room. Sit tight here. See, not be seen. I think I'll join you. Come on, Richie led on. Bloom followed, bag, dinner fit for Prince. Miss Dowse reached high to take a flag on, stretching her satin arm, her bust, that all but burst so high. Oh, jerked Lenehan, gasping to each stretch. Oh, but easily she seized her prey and let it low in triumph. Why don't you grow? Asked Blazes Boyling. She bronze, dealing from her oblique jar thick syrupy liquor for his lips, looked as it flowered, flower in his coat, who gave him, and syruped with her voice. Fine goods in small parcels. That is to say, neatly she poured slow syrupy slew. Here's fortune, Blazes said. He pitched a broad coin down. Coin rang. Hold on, said Linehan, till I, fortune, he wished, lifted his babbled ale. Scepter will win in a canter, he said. I plunged a bit, said Boylan, winking and drinking, not on my own, but, fancy of a friend of mine. Linehan still drank and grinned at his tilted ale and at Miss Dose's lips, that all but hummed, not shut, the ocean sung her lips and trilled, Idolis, the eastern sea. Clockward, Miss Kennedy passed their way, flower, wonder who gave, bearing away tea tray. Clock clacked. Miss Dowse took Boylan's coin, struck boldly the cash register, it clanged. Clock clacked. Fair one of Egypt, teased and sorted in the till and hummed and handed coins and change. Look to the west, a clack, for me. What time is that? Asked Blazes Boylan. 4 o'clock. Linehan's small eyes a-hunger and her humming, bust a-humming, tugged Blazes Boylan's elbow sleeve. Let's hear the time, he said. The bag of Goulding, Collis, ward-led bloom by rye bloom flowered tables. Aimless he chose with agitated aim, bald Pat attending. A table near the door. Be near, at 4. Has he forgotten? Perhaps a trick. Not come. Whet appetite, I couldn't do. Wait, Pat, waiter, waited. Sparkling bronze, azure-eyed, blazers, sky-blue bow and eyes. Go on, pressed Linehan. There's no one he never heard. To Flora's lips did I. A high note pealed in the treble clear. Bronze deuce communing with her rose that sank, and rose sought Blazes Boylan's flower and eyes. Please, he pleaded over returning phrases of Averwall. I could not leave thee. Afterwards, Miss Dowse promised coyly. No, now, urged Linehan, sonnes la cloche, I do. There's no one. She looked. Quick, Miss Keene, out of earshot, sudden bent, 2 kindling faces watched her bend. Quavering, the chord strayed from the air, found it again, lost chord, and lost and found it, faltering. Go on, do.
Sonne.
Hello, I'm Sammy Jay from Peter Harrington Rare Books in London, and today I'll be reading to you carefully from a first edition of Ulysses. Bending, she nipped a peak of skirt above her knee, delayed, taunted them still, bending, suspending with wilful eyes. Sonne, smack! She let free, sudden in rebound, her nipped elastic garter smack warm against her smackable a woman's warm-hosed thigh. La cloche, cried gleeful Lenehan, trained by owner, no sawdust there. She smirked supercilious, wept, aren't men, but lightward, gliding, mild, she smiled on Boylan. You're the essence of vulgarity, she in gliding said. Boylan eyed. Tossed a fat lips his chalice, drank off his tiny chalice, sucking the last fat violet syrupy drops. His spellbound eyes went after her gliding head as it went down the bar by mirrors, glided arch for ginger ale, hock and claret glasses shimmering, a spiky shell where it concerted, mirrored bronze with sunnier bronze. Yes, bronze from a nearby. Sweetheart, goodbye. I'm off, said Boylan with impatience. He slid his chalice brisk away, grasped at his change. Wait a shake, begged Lenehan, drinking quickly. I wanted to tell you. Tom Rochford, come on to Blazes, said Blazes Boylan, going. Lenehan gulped to go. Got the horn or what? He said. Wait, I'm coming. He followed the hasty, creaking shoes, but stood nimbly by the threshold, saluting forms, a bulky with a slender. "How do you do, Mr. Dollard?" "Eh? How do?" Ben Dollard's vague bass answered, turning an instant from Father Cowley's woe. "He won't give you any trouble, Bob. Alf Bergen will speak to the Longfellow. He'll put a barley straw in that Judas Iscariot's ear this time." Sighing, Mr. Daedalus came through the saloon, a finger soothing an eyelid. "Ho, ho, we will," Ben Dollard yodeled jollily. "Come on, Simon, give us a ditty. We heard the piano." Bald Pat, bothered waiter, waited for drink orders. Power for Richie, and Bloom, let me see. Not make him walk twice, his corns. 4 now. How warm this black is. Coarse nerves a bit. Refracts, is it? Heat. Let me see. Cider, yes. Bottle of cider. "What's that?" Mr. Daedalus said. "I was only vamping, man." Come on, Ben Dollard called. "Begone, dull care. Come, Bob." He ambled Dollard, bulky slops before them. "Hold that fellow with the... Hold him now." Into the saloon. He plumped him Dollard on the stool. His gouty paws, plumped chords, plumped stopped abrupt. Bald Pat in the doorway met tearless gold returning. Bothered he wanted power and cider. Bronze by the window watched, bronze from afar. Jingle a tingle jaunted. Bloom heard a jing, a little sound. He's off. Light sob of breath. Bloom sighed on the silent blue-hued flowers. Jingling, he's gone. Jingle. Here. "Love and war, Ben," Mr. Daedalus said. "God be with old times." Miss Douce's brave eyes, unregarded, turned from the cross-blind smitten by sunlight. Gone. Pensive. Who knows? Smitten, the smiting light. She lowered the drop blind with a sliding cord. She drew down pensive. Why did he go so quick one eye? About her bronze, over the bar where Bald stood by Sister Gold. In exquisite contrast in exquisite non-exquisite, slow, cool, dim, sea-green, sliding depth of shadow, Eau de Nil. Poor old Goodwin was the pianist that night, Father Cowley reminded them. There was a slight difference of opinion between himself and the Collard Grand. There was. A symposium all his own, Mr. Daedalus said. The devil wouldn't stop him. He was a crotchety old fellow in the primary stage of drink. God, do you remember? Ben Bulky Dollard said, turning from the punished keyboard, and by japes, I had no wedding garment. They laughed all three. He had no all trio laughed, no wedding garment. Our friend Bloom turned in handy that night, Mr. Daedalus said. Where's my pipe, by the way? He wandered back to the bar, to the lost cord pipe. Bald Pat carried 2 diners' drinks, Richie and Poldy, and Father Cowley laughed again. I saved the situation, Ben, I think. You did, averred Ben Dollard. I remember those tight trousers, too. That was a brilliant idea, Bob. Father Cowley blushed to his brilliant purply lobes. He saved a situation. Tight trow. Brilliant-eyed. I knew he was on the rocks, he said. The wife was playing the piano in the coffee palace on Saturdays for a very trifling consideration, and who was it gave me the wheeze? She was doing the other business. Do you remember? We had to search all Hollis Street to find them till the chap in Kyogs gave us the number. Remember?
By God, she had some luxurious upper cloaks and things there. Mr. Daedalus wandered back, pipe in hand. Marion Square style, ball dresses, by God, and court dresses. He wouldn't take any money either. What? Any God's quantity of cocked hats and boleros and truncos. What? Aye, Mr. Daedalus nodded. Mrs. Marion Bloom has left off clothes of all descriptions. Jingle jaunted down the quays. Blazes sprawled on bounding tires. Liver and bacon, steak and kidney pie, right, sir? Right, Pat. Mrs. Marion met him pike hoses. Smell of burn of Paul de Kock. Nice name, he. What's this her name was? A buxom lassie, Marion Tweedy. Yes, is she alive? And kicking. She was a daughter of the regiment. Yes, begad. I remember the old drum major. Mr. Dedalus struck, whizzed, lit, puffed savoury puff after. Irish? I don't know, faith. Is she, Simon? Puff after stiff, a puff strong, savoury, crackling. Buccinator muscle is what? Bit rusty. Oh, she is my Irish Molly. Oh. He puffed a pungent, plumy blast from the Rock of Gibraltar all the way. They pined in depth of ocean shadow, gold by the beer pull, bronze by maraschino, thoughtful all too, Mina Kennedy for Lismore Terrace, Drumcondra with Idolorous, a queen, Dolores, silent. Pat served uncovered dishes. Leopold cut liver slices. As said before, he ate with relish the inner organs, nutty gizzards, fried cod's roes, while Richie Golding, Collis, Ward ate steak and kidney, steak, then kidney. Bite by bite of pie he ate. Bloom ate, they ate. Bloom with Golding, married in silence, ate. Dinners fit for princes. By Bachelor's Walk, jog jaunty, jingled blazes boilin', bachelor, in sun, in heat, mare's glossy rump a trot, with flick of whip on bounding tires, sprawled, warm-seated, boilin' impatience, ardent bold. Horn, have you the horn? Have you the haw, horn? Over their voices, Dollard bassooned attack, booming over bombarding chords. When love absorbs my ardent soul, roll of Ben-Sol Benjamin, roll to the quivery, love-shivery roof panes. War, war, cried Father Cowley, you're the warrior. So I am, Ben Warrior laughed. I was thinking of your landlord. Love or money? He stopped. He wagged huge beard, huge face over his blunder, huge. Sure you'd burst the tympanum of her ear, man, Mr. Dedalus said through smoke aroma, with an organ like yours. In bearded abundant laughter, Dollard shook upon the keyboard. He would. Not to mention another membrane, Father Cowley added. Half time, Ben. Amoroso ma non troppo. Let me there. Miss Kennedy served two gentlemen with tankards of cool stout. She passed a remark. It was indeed, first gentleman said, beautiful weather. They drank a cool stout. Did she know where the Lord Lieutenant was going, and heard steel hoofs ring hoof ring? No, she couldn't say. But it would be in the paper. Oh, needn't trouble. No trouble, she waved about her outspread independent, searching, the Lord Lieutenant, her pinnacles of hair slow-moving. Lord Lieutenant. Too much trouble, first gentleman said. Oh, not in the least. Way he looked at that. Lord Lieutenant. Gold by bronze heard iron steel. My ardent soul, I care not for o'er the morrow. In liver gravy, Bloom mashed potatoes. Love and war somewhat is. Ben Dollard's famous. Night he ran round to us to borrow a dress suit for that concert. Trousers tight as a drum on him. Musical porkers. Molly did laugh when he went out. Threw herself back across the bed, screaming, kicking, with all his belongings on show. Oh, saints above, I'm drenched. Oh, the women in the front row. Oh, I never laughed so many. Well, of course, that's what gives him the bass barrel tone. For instance, eunuchs. Wonder who's playing. Nice touch. Must be Cowley. Musical. Knows whatever note you play. Bad breath he has, poor chap. Stopped.
Miss Dowse. Engaging. Lydia Dowse. Bowed to suave solicitor George Lidwell. Gentleman. Entering. Good afternoon. She gave her moist, a lady's hand to his firm clasp. Afternoon. Yes, she was back. To the old ding-dong again. Your friends are inside, Mr. Lidwell. George Lidwell, suave, solicited, held a Lydia hand. Bloom ate live, as said before. Clean here at last. That chap in the Burton gummy with gristle. No one here. Goulding and I. Clean tables, flowers, mitres of napkins. Pat, to and fro, bald Pat. Nothing to do. Best value in Dub. Piano again. Cowley it is. Way he sits into it. Like one together. Mutual understanding. Tiresome shapers scraping fiddles. I on the bow end, sawing the cello. Remind you of a toothache. Her high, long snore. Night, we were in the box. Trombone underblowing like a grampus between the acts. Other brass chap unscrewing, emptying spittle. Conductor's legs too. Bags trousers, jiggity, and do right to hide them. Jiggity jingle jaunty, only the harp. Lovely gold glowering light. Girl touched it. Poop of a lovely. Gravy's rather good fit for a golden ship. Erin. The harp that once or twice. Cool hands. Ben Hoth. The rhododendrons. We are their harps. I. He. Old. Young. Ah, I couldn't, man, Mr. Daedalus said, shy, listless, strongly. Go on, blast you, Ben Dollard growled. Get it out in bits. Mappery. Simon. Father Cowley said. Downstage he strode some paces, grave, tall in affliction, his long arms outheld. Hoarsely the apple of his throat hoarsed softly. Softly he sang to a dusty seascape there. A last farewell, a headland, a ship, a sail upon the billows. Farewell, a lovely girl. Her veil a wave upon the wind upon the headland, wind around her. Cowley sang, M'appari tout amor, il mio sguardo l'incontri. She waved, on hearing Cowley. Her veil to one departing, dear one, to wind, love, speeding sail, return. Go on, Simon. Ah, sure my dancing days are done, Ben. Well, Mr. Daedalus laid his pipe to rest beside the tuning fork and, sitting, touched the obedient keys. No, Simon, Father Cowley turned. Play it in the original, one flat. The keys, obedient, rose higher, told, faltered, confessed, confused. Up stage strode Father Cowley. Here, Simon, I'll accompany you, he said. Get up. By Graham Lemon's Pineapple Rock, by Elvery's Elephant Jingle jogged, steak, kidney, liver, mashed at meat, fit for princes, sat Princes Bloom and Golding. Princes at meat they raised and drank, power and cider. Most beautiful tenor air ever written, Ritchie said. Sonambula. he heard Joe Mass sing that one night. Ah, what, McGuckin? Yes, in his way. Choir boy style. Mass was the boy. Mass boy. A lyrical tenor, if you like. Never forget it, never. Tenderly Bloom over liverless bacon saw the tightened features strain. Backache he, Bright's bright eye. Next item on the programme. Paying the piper. Pills, pounded bread, worth a guinea a box. Stave it off a while. Sings too. Down among the dead. Appropriate. Kidney pie. Sweets to thee. Not making much hand of it. Best value in. Characteristic of him. Power. Particular about his drink. Flawn the glass. Fresh Vartry water. Feckin' matches from counters to save. Then squander a sovereign in dribs and drabs, and when he's wanted not a farthing. Screwed refusing to pay his fare. Curious types. Never would Richie forget that night, as long as he lived. Never. In the gods of the old royal with little peak, and when the first note... Speech paused on Richie's lips. Coming out with a whopper now. Rhapsodies about damn all. Believe his own lies. Does really. Wonderful liar. But want a good memory. Which air is that? Asked Leopold Bloom. All is lost now. Richie cocked his lips a pout. A low, incipient note, sweet banshee murmured, all. A thrush, a throstle, his breath, bird sweet. Good teeth he's proud of. Fluted with plaintive woe, is lost. Rich sound. 2 notes in one there. Blackbird I heard in the Hawthorn Valley. Taking my motives he twined and turned them. Almost too new, call is lost in all. Echo. How sweet the answer. How is that done? All lost now. Mournful he whistled. Fall. Surrender. Lost. Bloom bent Leopold ear, turning a fringe of doily down under the vase. Order. Yes, I remember. Lovely air. In sleep she went to him. Innocence in the moon. Still hold her back. Brave. Don't know their danger. Call name. Touch water. Jingle jaunty. Too late. She longed to go. That's why, woman, as easy stop the sea. Yes, all is lost.
A beautiful air, said Bloom, lost Leopold. I know it well. Never in all his life had Richie Goulding. He knows it well, too, or he feels, still harping on his daughter. Wise child that knows her father, Daedalus said. Me? Bloom askance over liverless saw, face of the all it lost. Rollicking Richie once, jokes old, stale now. Wagging his ear, napkin ring in his eye, now begging letters he sends his son with. Cross-eyed Walter, sir, I did, sir. Wouldn't trouble, only I was expecting some money. Apologize. Piano again. Sounds better than last time I heard. Tuned, probably. Stopped again. Dollard and Cowley still urged the lingering singer out with it. With it, Simon. It, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am most deeply obliged by your kind solicitations. It, Simon. I've no money, but if you will lend me your attention, I shall endeavour to sing to you of a heart bowed down. By the sandwich bell in screening shadow, Lydia, her bronze and rose, a lady's grace, gave and withheld. As in cool Glaucus, Oda nil, Mina to tankards too, her pinnacles of gold. The harping chords of preludes closed, a chord long drawn, expectant, drew a voice away. When first I saw that form endearing, Richie turned. See, Denna's voice, he said. Brain-tipped, cheek-touched with flame, they listened, feeling that flow, endearing flow, over skin, limbs, human, heart, soul, spine. Bloom signed to Pat, bald Pat, is a waiter hard of hearing, to set ajar the door of the bar. The door of the bar. So, that will do, Pat, waiter, waited, waiting to hear, for he was hard of hear by the door. Sorrow from me seemed to depart. Through the hush of air a voice sang to them, low, not rain, not leaves and murmur, like no voice of strings or reeds, or what you call them, dulcimers, touching their still ears with words, still hearts of their each his remembered lives. Good to hear, sorrow from them each seemed to from both depart when first they heard. When first they saw lost Richie Poldy, mercy of beauty, heard from a person, wouldn't expect it in the least, her first mirthful, love-soft, oft-loved word. Love that is singing, love's old sweet song. Bloom unwound slowly the elastic band of his packet. Love's old sweet sonne la gold. Bloom wound a skein round 4 fork fingers, stretched it, relaxed and wound it round his troubled, double, 4-fold in octave, jivied them fast. Full of hope and all delighted, tenors get women by the score, increase their flow, throw flower at his feet, when will we meet? My head it simply, jingle all delighted, he can't sing for tall hats, your head in simply swirls, perfumed for him. What perfume does your wife, I want to know? James, stop, knock. Last look at mirror always before she answers the door. The hall, there, how do you? I do well, there, what, or? File of cactus, kissing comfits in her satchel. Yes, hands felt for the opulent. Alas, the voice rose, sighing, changed, loud, full, shining, proud. But alas, 'twas idle dreaming. Glorious tone he has still, cork air softer also their brogue. Silly man could have made oceans of money singing wrong words. Wore out his wife, now sings, but hard to tell. Only the two of themselves, if he doesn't break down. Keep a trot for the avenue. His hands and feet sing too, drink, nerves overstrung. Must be abstemious to sing. Jenny Lind soup, stock, sage, raw eggs, half-pint of cream, for creamy dreaming. Tenderness it welled, slow, swelling, full it throbbed, that's the chat, ha, give, take, throb, a pulsing proud erect. Words, music, no, it's what's behind. Bloom looped, unlooped, noted, disnoted. Bloom full of warm jam, lick it up, secretness flowed to flow in music, out in desire, dark to lick, flow, invading, tipping her, tapping her, tapping her, topping her, top, pours to dilate, dilating, top, the joy, the feel, the warm, the top, to pour all sluices, pouring gushes, flood, gush, flow, joy gush, top thrup, now, language of love, ray of hope.
Martha, it is. Coincidence. Just going to write. Lionel's song. Lovely name you have. Can't write, except my little prez. Play on her heartstrings, purse strings too. She's a... I called you naughty boy. Still the name Martha. How strange. Today. The voice of Lionel returned, weaker but unwearied. It sang again to Richie, Poldy, Lydia, Lidwell, also sang to Pat, open mouth, ear waiting to wait. How first he saw that form endearing, how sorrow seemed to part, how look, form, word charmed him, Gould Lidwell, won Pat Bloom's heart. Wish I could see his face, though, explain better. Why the barber and Dragos always looked my face when I spoke his face in the glass. Still, hear it better here than in the bar, though farther. Each graceful look. First night, when first I saw her at Matt Dillon's in Terenure. Yellow, black lace she wore, musical chairs, we two the last. Fate, after her, fate. Round and round, slow, quick round, we two. All looked, halt. Down she sat, all ousted looking, lips laughing, yellow knees. Charmed my eye. Singing, waiting, she sang. I turned her music. Full voice of perfume, of what perfume does your lilac trees? Bosom I saw, both, full, throat warbling. First I saw, she thanked me. Why did she me? Fate, Spanishy eyes. Under a pear tree alone, patio this hour in old Madrid, one side in shadow, Dolores, she Dolores. At me, luring, alluring. Martha, Martha. Quitting all languor, Lionel cried in grief, in cry of passion dominant, to love, to return with deepening, yet with rising chords of harmony. In cry of Lionel loneliness, should she know, must Martha feel. For only her he waited. Where? Here, there, try there, here, all try, where? Somewhere. Come, thou lost one, come, thou dear one. Alone. One love, one hope, one comfort me. Martha, chestnut, return. Come. It soared, a bird. It held its flight, a swift, pure cry. Soar, silver orb, it leaped serene, speeding, sustained, to come. Don't spin it out too long. Long breath, he breath, long life, soaring high, high, resplendent of flame, crowned, high in the effulgence, symbolistic, high of the ethereal bosom, high of the vast, high irradiation everywhere, all soaring, all around, about the all, to the endlessness, to me, Searpold, consumed. Come, well sung, all clapped, she ought to come, to me, to him, to her, you too, me, us. Bravo, clap, clap, good man, Simon, clappy, clap, clap, encore, clap, clip, clap, sound as a bell, bravo, Simon, clap, clap, clap. Encore, on clap, they said, cried, clapped all. Ben Dollard, Lydia Deuce, George Lidwell, Pat, Mina, two gentlemen with two tankards, Cowley, first gent with tank, and bronze Miss Deuce, and gold Miss Mina. Blazes Boylan's smart 10 shoes creaked on the blafour, said before. Jingle by monuments of Sir John Gray, Horatio, one-handed Nelson, Reverend Father Theobald Matthew, jaunted as said before just now. A trot in heat seated, cloche, sonnez-la, cloche, sonnez-la. Slower the mare went up the hill by the rotunda, Rutland Square. Too slow for Boylan, Blazes Boylan, Impatience Boylan, jogged the mare. An afterclang of Cowley's chords closed, died on the air, made richer. And Richie Goulding drank his power, and Leopold Bloom his cider drink, Lidwell his Guinness. Second gentleman said they would partake of 2 more tankards if she did not mind. Miss Kennedy smirked, deserving, coral lips at first, at second, she did not mind. 7 days in jail, Ben Dollard said, on bread and water. Then you'd sing, Simon, like a garden thrush. Lionel Simon, singer, laughed. Father Bob Cowley played. Mina Kennedy served. Second gentleman paid. Tom Kernan strutted in. Lydia admired. But Bloom sang dumb. Admiring. Richie, admiring, descanted on that man's glorious voice. He remembered one night long ago, never forget that night. Si sang, "'Twas rank and fame, and Ned Lambert's 'twas." Good God, he never heard in all his life a note like that. He never did. Then one false one, we had better part. So clear, so God, he never heard. Since love lives not, a clinking voice, ask Lambert, he can tell you too. Goulding, a flush struggling in his pale, told Mr. Bloom, face of the night, Si and Ned Lambert's Daedalus's house, sang, "'Twas rank and fame." He, Mr. Bloom, listened, while he, Richie Goulding, told him, Mr. Bloom of the night, he, Richie, heard him, Si Daedalus, sing, "'Twas rank and fame in his, Ned Lambert's, house."
Brothers-in-law, relations. We never speak as we pass by. Rift in the lute, I think. Treats him with scorn, see. He admires him all the more. The night sigh sang. The human voice, two tiny silky chords. Wonderful, more than all the others. That voice was a lamentation. Calmer now. It's in the silence you feel you hear. Vibrations. Now silent air. Bloom unjived his crisscrossed hands and with slack fingers plucked the slender catgut thumb. He drew and plucked. It buzzed, it twanged. While Goulding talked of Barraclough's voice production, while Tom Kernan, harking back in a retrospective sort of arrangement, talked to listening Father Cowley, who played a voluntary, who nodded as he played, while Big Ben Dollard talked with Simon Daedalus, lighting, who nodded as he smoked, who smoked. Thou lost one. All songs on that theme. Yet more Bloom stretched his string. Cruel it seems. Let people get fond of each other, lure them on, then tear asunder. Death explodes. Knock on the head. Out of the hell of that. Human life, Dignam. Ugh, that rat's tail wriggling. 5 bob I gave. Corpus paradisum. Corncrake croaker. Belly like a poisoned pup. Gone. They sing. Forgotten, I too. And one day she with. Leave her. Get tired. Suffer then. Snivel. Big Spanishy eyes, goggling at nothing. Her wavy, avy, heavy hair. Uncombed. Yet too much happy bores. He stretched. More. Are you not happy in your... Twang, it snapped. Jingle into Dorset Street. Miss Douce withdrew her satiny arm, reproachful, pleased. Don't make half so free, said she, till we are better acquainted. George Lidwell told her really and truly, but she did not believe. First gentleman told Mina that was so. She asked him, was that so? And second tankard told her so, that was so. Miss Douce, Miss Lydia did not believe. Miss Kennedy, Mina did not believe. George Lidwell, no. Miss Dew did not. The first, gent with the tank. Believe, no. Did not, Miss Ken. Lydia Dewell, the tank. Better write it here. Quills in the post office, chewed and twisted. Bald Pat at a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink, he went. A pad, he went. A pad to blot. He heard, deaf Pat. Yes, Mr. Bloom said, teasing the curling catgut fine. It certainly is. Few lines will do. My present. All that Italian florid music is. Who is this wrote? Know the name you know better? Take out sheet notepaper? Envelope? Unconcerned? It's so uncharacteristic. Grandest number in the whole opera, Goulding said. It is, Bloom said. Numbers it is. All music when you come to think. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by half is twice 1. Vibrations. Chords those are. 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 7. Do anything you like with figures juggling. Always find out this equal to that. Symmetry under a cemetery wall. He doesn't see my mourning. Callous. All for his own gut. Muse of mathematics. And you think you're listening to the ethereal. But suppose you said it like, Martha, 7 times 9 minus x is 35,000. Fall quite flat. It's on account of the sounds it is. Instance, he's playing now, improvising. Might be what you like till you hear the words. Want to listen sharp, hard. Begin all right. Then hear chords a bit off. Feel lost a bit. In and out of sacks over barrels. Through wire fences, obstacle race. Time makes the tune. Question of mood you're in. Still, always nice to hear. Except scales up and down, girls learning. 2 together, next door neighbors. Ought to invent dummy pianos for that. Blumenlied I bought for her. The name. Playing it slow. A girl. Night I came home. The girl. Door of the stables near Cecilia Street. Millie no taste. Queer because we both, I mean. Bald, deaf Pat brought quite flat ink pad. Pat set with ink pen, quite flat pad. Pat took plate, dish, knife, fork. Pat went. It was the only language Mr. Daedalus said to Ben. He heard them as a boy in Ringabella, Crosshaven, Ringabella, singing their barcaroles. Queenstown Harbour, full of Italian ships, walking, you know, Ben in the moonlight with those earthquake hats, blending their voices. God, such music, Ben, heard as a boy. Cross Ringabella, Haven, Moon Carole. Sour pipe removed, he held a shield of hand beside his lips that cooed a moonlight night call, clear from an ear, a call from afar, replying. Down the edge of his Freeman batten, ranged blooms, your other eye scanning for where I did see that. Callan, Coleman, Dignan Patrick, hey ho, Fawcett, aha! Just I was looking. Hope he's not looking, cute as a rat. He held unfurled his Freeman. Can't see now. Remember, right Greek ease. Bloom dipped. Bloomer. Dear Sir. Dear Henry wrote. Dear Maddie. Got your let and flow. Hell did I put. Some pock or oath. It is utter impos. Underline impos. To write today.
Hi, my name is David Hirschman, and I'm recording this from beautiful Providence, Rhode Island. Bore this. Board bloom tambourine gently, with I am just reflecting fingers on flat pad Pat brought. On. Know what I mean? No, change that EE. Except my poor little Preston close. Ask her no ance. Hold on. 5 dig. 2 about here. Penny the gulls. Elijah is calm. 7 Davy Burns is 8 about. Say half a crown. My poor little press. PO 2 and 6. Write me along. Do you despise? Jingle, have you the? So excited. Why do you call me not? You naughty too? Oh, Mary lost the pin of her. Bye for today. Yes, we'll tell you. Want to keep it up. Call me that other world she wrote. My patients are exhaust. To keep it up, you must believe. Believe. The tank. It is true. Folly am I writing? Husbands don't. That's marriage does, their wives. Because I'm away from, suppose. But how? She must. Keep young, if she found out. Carded my high grade, ha. No, not tell all. Useless pain, if they don't see. Women. Sauce for the gander. A hackney car, number 324, driver Barton James of number 1 Harmony Avenue, Donnybrook, on which sat a fare, a young gentleman, stylishly dressed in an indigo blue serge suit made by George Robert Macias, tailor and cutter, of number 5 Eden Quay, and wearing a straw hat, very dressy, thought of Jean Plasto of number 1 Great Brunswick Street, hatter. This is the jingle that joggled and jingled. By Dougall's pork shop, bright tubes of Agendath trotted in a gallant buttocked mare. Answering an ad? Keen Richie's eyes asked Bloom. Yes, Mr. Bloom said. Town traveler. Nothing doing, I expect. Bloomer. Best references. But Henry wrote, it will excite me. You know now. In haste, Henry. Greek, E.E. Better add postscript. What is he playing now? Improvising intermezzo. P.S. The rum-tum-tum. How will you pun? You punish me? Crooked skirt swinging. Whack by. Tell me, I want to know. Oh, of course, if I didn't, I wouldn't ask. La 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 re. Trails off there sad in minor. Why minor sad? Sign H. They like sad tail at end. P-P-P-S. La 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 re. I feel so sad today. La re. So lonely. D. He blotted a quick on pad of Pat envelope address. Just copy out of paper, murmured. Messrs. Callahan, Coleman & Co., Limited. Henry wrote, Miss Martha Clifford, care of P.O., Dolphin's Barn Lane, Dublin. Blot over the other so he can't read, right? Idea prize titbit. Something detective read off of blotting pad. Payment at the rate of guinea per column. Matcham often thinks the laughing witch. Poor Mrs. Purefoy. U.P. up. Too poetical that about the sad. Music did that. Music hath charms, Shakespeare said. Quotations every day in the year. To be or not to be, wisdom while you wait. In Gerard's rosary of Fetter Lane, he walks, Great Auburn. One life is all, one body. Do, but do. Done anyhow. Postal order stamp. Post office lower down. Walk now. Enough. Barney Kiernan's I promised to meet them. Dislike that job. House of mourning. Walk. Pat. Doesn't hear. Deaf beetle he is. Car near there now. Talk. Pat. Doesn't. Settling those napkins. Lot of ground he must cover in the day. Paint face behind him, then he'd be 2. Wish they'd sing more. Keep my mind off. Bald Pat, who is bothered, metered the napkins. Pat is a waiter, hard of hearing. Pat is a waiter who waits while you wait. He. He waits while you wait. He. A waiter is he. He. He waits while you wait. While you wait, if you wait, he will wait while you wait. He, ho. Wait while you wait. Deuce now, Deuce Lydia, bronze and rose. She had a gorgeous, simply gorgeous time, and look at the lovely shell she brought. To the end of the bar, to him she bore lightly the spiked and winding seahorn that he, George Lidwell, solicitor, might hear. Listen, she bade him. Under Tom Kiernan's gin-hot words, the accompanist wove music slow. Authentic fact. How Walter Bapty lost his voice. Well, sir, the husband took him by the throat. Scoundrel, said he, you'll sing no more love songs. He did, sir, Tom. Bob Cowley wove. Tenors get wom. Cowley lay back. Ah, now he heard. She's holding it to his ear. Here, he heard. Wonderful. She held it to her own, and though she sifted light pale gold, in contrast gilded, to hear. Tap. Bloom through the bar door saw a shell held at their ears. He heard more faintly that they heard, each for herself alone, then each for other, hearing the plash of waves, loudly a silent roar. Bronzed by a weary gold, anear, afar, they listened.
Her ear too is a shell, the peeping lobe there. Been to the seaside, lovely seaside girls. Skin tanned raw, Should have put on cold cream first, make it brown. Buttered toast. Oh, and that lotion mustn't forget. Fever near her mouth. Your head it's simply. Hair braided over, shell with seaweed. Why do they hide their ears with seaweed hair? And Turks their mouth. Why? Her eyes over the sheet, a yashmak. Find the way in, a cave. No admittance except on business. The sea they think they hear, singing, a roar. The blood it is, sows in the ear sometimes. Well, it's a sea, Corpuscle Islands. Wonderful really, so distinct. Again, George Lidwell held its murmur, hearing, then laid it by, gently. What are the wild waves saying? He asked her, smiled. Charming, sea smiling, and unanswering Lydia on Lidwell smiled. Tap. By Larry O'Rourke's, by Larry, bold Larry O'Boylan swayed, and Boylan turned. From the forsaken shell Miss Mina glided to her tankard waiting. No, she was not so lonely archly, Miss Douce's head let Mr. Lidwell know. Walks in the moonlight by the sea. No, not alone. With whom? She nobly answered. With a gentleman's friend. Bob Cowley's twinkling fingers in the treble played again. The landlord has the prior. A little time. Long John. Big Ben. Lightly he played a light, bright, tinkling measure for tripping ladies, arch and smiling, and for their gallants, gentlemen friends. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Sea, wind, leaves, thunder, waters, cows lowing, the cattle market, cocks, hens don't crow, snake hiss. There's music everywhere. Rutledge's door, creaking. No, that's noise. Minuet of Don Giovanni he's playing now. Court dresses of all descriptions in castle chambers dancing. Misery. Peasants outside. Green starving faces eating dock leaves. Nice that is. Look, 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 look. You look at us. That's joyful I can feel. Never have written it. Why? My joy is other joy, but both are joys. Yes, joy it must be. Mere fact of music shows you are. Often thought she was in the dumps till she began to lilt. Then no. McCoy valise. My wife and your wife. Squealing cat, like tearing silk. When she talks like the clapper of a bellows. They can't manage men's intervals. Gaff in their voices too. Filmy, I'm warm, dark, open. Molly in quis est homo. Mercadante. My ear against the wall to hear. Want a woman who can deliver the goods. Jake Jig jogged, stopped. Dandy tan of shoe of dandy. Boylan socks, sky blue clocks came light to earth. Oh, look, we are so. Chamber music. Could make a kind of pun on that. It is a kind of music I often thought when she, acoustics that is, tinkling. Empty vessels make most noise. Because the acoustics, the resonance changes according as the weight of the water is equal to the law of falling water. Like those rhapsodies of Liszt's Hungarian gypsied, pearls, drops rain, diddle iddle, addle addle, oodle oodle, hiss. Now, maybe now, before. One rapped on a door, one tapped with a knock. Did he knock Paul de Kock with a loud, proud knocker, with a cock, cara, cock, cock, cock? Tap. Key Stenio, Ben, said Father Cowley. No, Ben, Tom Kernan interfered. The croppy boy, our native Doric. I do, Ben, Mr. Daedalus said. Good men and true. Do, they begged in one. I'll go. Here, Pat, return. Come. He came, he did not stay. To me. How much? What key? 6 sharps? F sharp major, Ben Dollard said. Bob Cowley's outstretched talons griped the black, deep-sounding chords. Must go Prince Bloom, told Richie Prince. No, Richie said. Yes, must. Got money somewhere. He's on for a razzle backache spree. Much, he hears lip speech. 1 and 9, penny for yourself. Here, give him 2 pence tip. Deaf bothered, but perhaps he has wife and family waiting. Waiting party come home. He. Deaf wait while they wait. But here. Chords dark. Lugubrious. Low. In a cave of the dark middle earth. Embedded, or lump music. The voice of dark age, of unlove, earth's fatigue, made grave approach, and painful come from afar, from hoary mountains, called on good men and true. The priest he saw with him would he speak a word. Tap. Ben Dullard's voice bass barrel tone, doing his level best to say it. Croak of vast manless moonless marsh. Other come down. Big ships Chandler's business he did once. Remember, rosiny ropes, ships, lanterns, failed to the tune of 10,000 pounds. Now in the ivy home. Cubicle number so and so. Number 1 bass did that for him.
The priest's at home. A false priest's servant bade him welcome. Step in, the Holy Father. Curlicues of chords. Ruin them. Wreck their lives. Then build them cubicles to end their days in. Hushaby, lullaby. Die, dog, little dog, die. The voice of warning, solemn warning, told them the youth had entered a lonely hall. Told them how solemn fell his footsteps there. Told them the gloomy chamber, the vested priest sitting to shrive. Decent soul, bit addled now, thinks he'll win in answers poet's picture puzzle. We hand you crisp 5-pound note. Bird sitting hatching in a nest. Last day of the minstrel he thought it was. C-T what domestic animal? T- our most courageous mariner. Good voice he has still. No eunuch yet with all his belongings. Listen. Bloom listened. Richie Goulding listened. And by the door deaf Pat, bald Pat, tipped Pat listened. The chords harped slower. The voice of penance and of grief came slow, embellished, tremulous. Ben's contrite beard confessed, in nomine Domini, in God's name. He knelt, he beat his hand upon his breast, confessing, mea culpa. Latin again, that holds them like birdlime. Priest with the communion corpus for those women. Chap in the mortuary, coffin or coffee, corpus nomine. Wonder where that rat is now. Scrape. Tap. They listened. Tankards and Miss Kennedy. George Lidwell, eyelid well expressive, full-busted satin. Kernan, sigh. The sighing voice of sorrow sang. His sins. Since Easter he had cursed 3 times. You bitches bast. And once at mass time he had gone to play. Once by the churchyard he had passed, and for his mother's rest he had not prayed. A boy, a croppy boy. Bronze, listening by the beer pull, gazed far away. Soulfully. Doesn't half know I'm... Molly, great dab at seeing anyone looking. Bronze gazed far sideways. Mirror there. Is that the best side of her face? They always know. Knock at the door. Last tip to titivate. Kakara kara. What do they think when they hear music? Way to catch rattlesnakes. Night Michael Gunn gave us the box. Tuning up. Shah of Persia liked that best. Remind him of home sweet home. Wipe his nose and curtain to. Custom his country perhaps. That's music too. Not as bad as it sounds. Tootling. Brasses braying asses through up trunks. Double basses. Helpless gashes in their sides. Woodwinds mooing cows. Semi-grand open crocodile music hath jaws. Woodwind like Godwin's name. She looked fine. Her crocus dress she wore, low-cut, belongings on show. Clove, her breath was always in theater when she bent to ask a question. Told her what Spinoza says in that book of poor papas. hypnotized listening. Eyes like that. She bent. Chap in dress circle staring down into her with his opera glass for all he was worth. Beauty of music you must hear twice. Nature woman half a look. God made the countryman the tune. Let him pike hoses. Philosophy, oh rocks. All gone, all fallen. At the siege of Roth his father. At Gorey all his brothers fell. To Wexford we are the boys of Wexford, he would. Last of his name and race. I too last of my race. Millie young student, well, my fault perhaps. No son, Rudy. Too late now? Or if not, if still? He bore no hate. Hate, love, those are names. Rudy, soon I am old. Big Ben his voice unfolded. Great voice, Richie Goulding said, a flush struggling in his pale, to bloom, soon old, but when was young. Ireland comes now. My country above the king, she listens. Who fears to speak of 1904? Time to be shoving, looked enough. Bless me, father, Dollard the Cropper cried. Bless me and let me go. Tap. Bloom looked, unblessed to go. Got up to kill on 18 bob a week. Fellow shells out the dibs. Want to keep your weather eye open. Those girls, those lovely. By the sad sea waves. Chorus girls romance. Letters read out for breach of promise. From Chickabiddy's own Mumpsy Pum. Laughter in court. Henry, I never signed it. The lovely name, you. Low sank the music, air and words, then hastened. The false priest rustling soldier from his cassock. A yeoman captain. They know it all by heart. The thrill they itch for, yeoman cap. Tap, tap. Thrilled, she listened, bending in sympathy to hear. Blank face. Virgin should say, or fingered only. Write something on it, page. If not, what becomes of them? Decline, despair, keeps them young. Even admire themselves. See, play on her, lip blow, body of white woman, a flute alive. Blow gentle, loud, 3 holes all women. Goddess I didn't see. They want it, not too much polite. That's why he gets them. Gold in your pocket, brass in your face, with look to look, songs without words. Molly, that hurdy-gurdy boy, she knew he meant the monkey was sick, or because so like the Spanish. Understands animals too that way. Solomon did, gift of nature. Ventriloquies, my lips closed. Think in my stum, what? Will? You? I want you too. With hoarse, rude fury the yeoman cursed, swelling an apoplectic bitch's bastard, a good thought boy to come. 1 hour's your time to live, your last. Tap, tap, thrill now, pity they feel, to wipe away tears for martyrs. For all things dying, want to, dying to, die. For that all things born. Poor Mrs. Purefoy, hope she's over, because their wombs. The liquid womb of woman eyeball gazed under a fence of lashes, calmly hearing. See real beauty of the eye when she not speaks. On yonder river, at each slow, satiny heaving bosom's wave, her heaving embon, red rose rose slowly, sank red rose. Heart beats her breath, breath that is life, and all the tiny, tiny fern foils trembled of maiden hair.
Hello, my name is Charles Tolkien-Gillett from the Manhattan Red Book Company, and today I'll be reading from Matisse's illustrated edition of Ulysses from 1935, and this copy happens to be signed by both Joyce and Matisse. But look, the bright stars fade. O Rose, Castile, the morn. Ha, Lidwell, for him, then not for. Infatuated, I like that. See her from here, though. Popped corks, splashes of beer froth, stacks of empties. On the smooth, jutting, bull pull, beer pull, laid Lydia, hand lightly, plumply, leave it to my hands. All lost in pity for Croppy. Fro, to, fro. Over the polished knob she knows his eyes, my eyes, her eyes. Her thumb and finger passed in pity, passed, repassed, and gently touching, then slid so smoothly, slowly down, a cool, firm white enamel baton protruding through their sliding ring. A cock with a cara. Tap, tap, tap. I hold this house, amen. He gnashed in fury. Traitors swing. The chords consented, very sad thing, but had to be. Get out before the end, thanks, that was heavenly. Where's my hat? Pass by her, can leave that Freeman. Letter I have. Suppose she were no. Walk, walk, walk. Like Cashel, Boileau, Canoro, Coilo, Tisdall, Morris, Tinstall, Farrell. Walk. Well, I must be. Are you off? Blumstup, or rye high blue. Bloom stood up. Ow. Soap feeling rather sticky behind. Must have sweated. Music. That lotion, remember? Well, so long. High grade. Card inside, yes. By deft pat in the doorway, straining ear, Bloom passed. At Geneva barrack that young man died. At passage, with his body laid. Dolor, oh he Dolores. The voice of the mournful chanter called to dolorous prayer. By rose, by saintly bosom, by the fondling hand, by slops, by empties, by popped corks, greeting and going, past eyes and maiden hair, bronze and faint gold, in deep sea shadow went Bloom, soft Bloom. I feel so lonely, Bloom. Tap, tap, tap. Pray for him, prayed the boss of Dollard, who here in peace. Breathe a prayer, drop a tear, good men, good people. He was the Croppy boy. Scarring eavesdropping boots, Croppy boots boy, Bloom in the Ormond hallway heard growls and roars of bravo, fat back slapping, their boots all treading, boots not the boots of the boy. General, chorus off for a swill to wash it down, glad I avoided. Come on, Ben, Simon Dedalus said. By God, you're as good as you ever were. Better, said Tonkin Kernan. Most trenchant rendition of that ballad, upon my soul and honour it is. La Blanche, said Father Cowley. Ben Dollard bulkily cachot towards the bar, micely praise-fed, and the big roseate on heavy-footed feet, his gouty fingers knackering castagnettes in the air. Big Ben Dollard, Big Ben, Big Ben. And deep moved all Simon, trumping compassion from foghorn nose, all laughing, they brought him forth, Ben Dollard, in right good cheer. You're looking rubicund, George Lidwell said. Miss Dowse composed her rose to wait. Ben Mashri, said Mr. Dedalus, clapping Ben's fat back shoulder blade. Fit as a fiddle, only he's had a lot of adipose tissue concealed about his person. Fat of death, Simon, Ben Dollard growled. Richie rift in the lute alone sat, golding Collis, Ward. Certainly he waited. Unpaid pat too. Tap, 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 tap. Miss Mina Kennedy brought near her lips to ear of tankard one. Mr. Dollard, they murmured low. Dollard murmured tankard. Tank one believed, Miss Ken when she, that doll he was, she doll, the tank. He murmured that he knew the name. The name was familiar to him, that is to say. That was to say he had heard the name of Dollard. Was it? Dollard, yes. Yes, her lips said more loudly, Mr. Dollard. He sang that song lovely, murmured Mina. And The Lost Rose of Summer was a lovely song. Mina loved that song. Tankard loved that song. That Mina. 'Tis the lost rose of summer, Dollard left bloom, felt wind wound round inside. Gassy thing that cider, binding too, wait. Post office near Reuben J's, 1 and 8pence too. Get shut of it. Dodge round by Greek Street. Wish I hadn't promised to meet. Freer in air, music, gets on your nerves, beer pull. Her hand that rocks the cradle rules the Benhouth that rules the world. Far, 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 far. Tap, 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 tap. Upon the quay went Lionel Leopold, naughty Henry with letter for Maddie, with sweets of sin, with frillies on for Rowell, with met him pike hoses went Poldy on. Tap blind, walked tapping by the tap, the curbstone tapping, tap by tap. Cowley, he stunts himself with it, kind of drunkenness, better give way only halfway the way of a man with a maid. Instants enthusiasts, all ears. Not lose a demi-semi-quaver. Eyes shut, head nodding in time, Dotty, you daren't budge, thinking strictly prohibited, always talking shop, fiddle-faddle about notes. All a kind of attempt to talk, unpleasant when it stops because you never know exact. Organ in Gardner Street, Old Glynn 50 quid a year, queer up there in the cock loft alone with stops and locks and keys, seated all day at the organ, maunder on for hours, talking to himself, with the other fellow blowing the bellows, growl angry, then shriek cursing, want to have wadding or something in his... No, don't, she cried. Then, all of a soft sudden, wee little pippy wind. Fwee! Oh, wee little wind piped in Bloom's little wee. Was he, Mr. Dedalus said, returning with fetched pipe? I was with him this morning at poor little Paddy Dingham's. Aye, the Lord have mercy on him. By the by, there's a tuning fork in there on the tap, 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 tap. The wife has a fine voice, or had. What? Lidwell asked. Oh, that must be the tuner, Lydia said to Simon Lionel. First I saw. Forgot it when he was here. Blind he was, she told George Lidwell. Second I saw. And played so exquisitely. Treat to her. Here. Exquisite contrast. Bronze lid, Mina gold. Shout, Ben Dollard shouted, pouring. Sing out. "'Ull do," cried Father Cowley. I feel I want. Tap, 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 tap.
Very, Mr. Dedalus said, staring hard at a headless sardine. Under the sandwich bell lay, on a bier of bread, One lonely, last sardine of summer. Bloom alone. Very, he stared, the lower register for choice. Tap, 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 tap.
My name is Rick Gekoski. I used to be a lecturer at the University of Warwick, and I frequently taught Ulysses in our course on the novel. And after that, I became a rare book dealer, and I've had dozens of first editions of Ulysses through my hands. What was interesting about them is that the good ones and the bad ones in terms of condition had still been looked after in one way or another, because from the very beginning, that book was so obviously wonderful, both in terms of its content and its form, that people took good care of it. Bloom went by Barry's. Wish I could wait. That wonder worker, if I had. 24 solicitors in that one house, counted them. Litigation, love one another, piles of parchment. Messrs. Pick and Pocket have power of attorney, Goulding, Collis, Wild. But, for example, the chap that wallops the big drum, his vocation? Mickey Rooney's band. Wonder how it first struck him, sitting at home after Pig's Cheek and Cabbage, nursing it in the armchair, rehearsing his band part. Pompety, jolly for the wife, asses skins, welt them through life, then wallop after death. Wallop. Seems to be what you call yashmak, or, kismet, fate. Tap. A stripling blind with a tapping cane came tapping by Daly's window, where a mermaid hair all streaming, but he couldn't see, blew whiffs of a mermaid, blind, couldn't. Mermaid, coolest whiff of all. Instruments, a blade of grass, shell of her hands, then blow, even comb and tissue paper you can knock a tune out of. Molly in her shift in Lombard Street West, hair down. I suppose each kind of trade made its own, don't you see? Hunter with a horn. Oh, have you the cloche sonella? Shepherd his pipe, wee little wee, policeman a whistle, locks and keys sweep. 4 o'clock, all's well, sleep, all is lost now, drum, pumpety. Wait, I know, town crier. Bum bailiff, Long John, waken the dead. Pom, dignum. Poor little nominee domini, pom, it is music. Of course, it's all pom, very much what they call da capo. Still, you can hear as we march along, pom. I must really... Oh, now if I did that at a banquet, just a question of custom. Shah of Persia, breathe a prayer, drop a tear. All the same, he must have been a bit of a natural not to see it was a yeoman cap, muffled up. Wonder who was that chap at the grave in the brown Machen. Oh, the whore of the lane, a frowsy whore with black straw, sailor hat askew, came glazily in the day along the quay towards Mr. Bloom. When first he saw that form endearing, yes, it is. I feel so lonely, wet night in the lane. Horn, who had the he-haw, she saw, off her beat here. What is she? Hope she, psst, any chance of your wash? New Molly, had me decked. Stout lady does be with you in the brown costume. Put you off your stroke, that. Appointment we made, knowing we'd never, well, hardly ever, too dear, too near to home, sweet home, sees me, does she? Looks a fright in the day, face like dip. Damn her. Oh, well, she has to live like the rest. Look in here in Lionel Mark's antique sale shop window. Haughty Henry Lionel Leopold, dear Henry Flower, earnestly Mr. Leopold Bloom, envisaged battered candlesticks, melodeon oozing maggoty blow bags. Bargain, 6 bob. Might learn to play, cheap. Let her pass. Of course, everything is dear if you don't want it. That's what good salesman is. Make you buy what he wants to sell. Chap sold me the Swedish razor he say shaved me with. Wanted to charge me for the edge, he gave it. She's passing now. 6 bob. Must be the cider, or perhaps the Burgund. Near bronze from a near gold from afar, they chinked their clinking glasses all, bright-eyed and gallant before bronze Lydia's tempting last rose of summer, rose of Castile, first lid, D, cow, cur, doll, a 5th, Lidwell, Cy Daedalus, Bob Cowley, Kernan, and Big Ben Dollard tap. A youth entered a lonely Ormond hall. Bloom viewed a gallant pictured hero in Lionel Marx's window. Robert Emmett's last words, 7 last words of Meyerbeer, that is, true men like you men. I, Ben, will lift your glass with us. They lifted. Chink, chunk, tip. An unseeing stripling stood in the door. He saw not bronze, he saw not gold, nor Ben, nor Bob, nor Tom, nor Cy, nor George, nor Tanks, nor Richie, nor Pat. He did not see Bloom, grease a Bloom, viewed last words softly. When my country takes her place among, must be the burr. Ooh. Nations of the earth, no one behind, she's passed, then and not till then. Tram, crang, 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 good opera, coming, crang, 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 crank, I'm sure it's the Burgund. Yes, 1, 2, let my epitaph be written, I have done.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of The Colophon and our Centennial reading of Ulysses from Thornwillow Press. Be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and please consider supporting us by visiting our website, www.thornwillow.com. Your help makes this and all our endeavors possible.